Salutations, dear viewers. This is George from Ireland, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the Republican Party in the United States and their recent budget. Well, the Republicans have excelled themselves yet again because they have shown they're characterized by the most extraordinary compassion and generosity towards billionaires and the most cold-hearted cruelty towards the poor. It takes a special kind of malice to take away free healthcare from poor children. It's extraordinary. A lot of people call themselves Christian, and Christianity is supposed to be about mercy. You read Jesus saying the man with two shirts must give one shirt to the man with none, and all this in the Old Testament about gleaning and leaving some wheat behind for the poor, looking after the sojourner. The sojourner, in modern terms, I suppose, would be the illegal immigrant, as well as the refugee, including the Syrian refugees. Some of them are Christian, and their ancestors would have been Christian long before most white Americans' ancestors would have been. So, where are we? Well, the Republican Party has, I suppose, embraced the Marxist notion of redistribution of wealth, but it's from the poorest to the super rich. And that's what their tax cuts are about blowing a massive hole in the budget. $1.3 trillion, is that right? Over how many years? It's staggering. And so Democrats, whenever they win control of Capitol Hill again, will be obliged, just as responsible people, to increase taxation to try and get this massive deficit under control, raising the debt ceiling again and again. These Republicans were budget hawks. They were outraged when Obama encouraged the Congress in extremis to raise the debt ceiling, and now they're all for it. It's kind of machismo for them. They're sort of playing a game of economic chicken, I suppose. Who's going to drive further towards the cliff? They're all into their fiscal cliffs and government shutdown, and there's so much brinksmanship. Not that Democrats are entirely innocent in that sort of whole game. Just think back to the 1980s when the United States used to have 2.5 parties, as they said, and there were once New Deal Republicans. There didn't seem to be that much to separate Republicans and Democrats ideologically a long time ago, and there's some Republicans who are entirely laudable, who are very honourable in espousing civil rights and trying to secure genuine equality for African Americans and so forth. And many of them backed Medicare, Medicaid, and things of that nature. It seems in the 1980s that the Republicans became captured by the Christian right, and Ronald Reagan addressed one of these Christian fundamentalist rallies saying, "I don't ask for your endorsement, but I endorse you." Despite that, he did nothing about abortion, I don't think. I mean, I realise it's Congress, not him, that frames the laws, but he could still encourage Congress to try and make abortion illegal. It's flabbergasting that Republicans want to have massive swinging cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, which Trump vowed to protect. Now, I know Congress has the power of the purse. Trump probably doesn't realise that. But he could at least advocate for Congress properly funding these things. So, defending affordable healthcare, surely that's a moral imperative. And affordable healthcare saves countless lives every year. So it's all about condemning thousands of Americans to easily preventable premature deaths. So it's like a sort of healthcare 9/11, really, taking away the Affordable Healthcare and Patient Protection Act. Call it by its proper name. What part of that would you disapprove of? That it's affordable, that it's healthcare, that it protects patients, and don't call it Obamacare. People always try and distract from the issue by making it about an individual who's a controversial figure and not about what it's actually there for. And ill health is not always lifestyle choice. It's not always obesity or smoking. Some people have congenital illnesses or develop them for other reasons. So people should pay their own healthcare bills. Well, sometimes they can't, owing to infirmity, or they might have lots of children. And Republicans obviously wouldn't want people to have affordable contraception. And so some adults can't pay for their own healthcare bills. They're trying to pay for their children's bills. What else? Some people are just not smart, not talented, can't get highly paid jobs, unemployed through no fault of their own. So the Republican Party is a party I used to support until about 2010, and I just can't now as a rational person. There doesn't seem to be anything good about them, anything constructive they're trying to do. Eric Cantor trying to help people by taking away funding that would give the average person a much better quality of life. And the Republican Party seems to just try to disseminate malice towards Muslim Americans, be mean-spirited towards gays. Now gay couples can get married. It's not something I supported. I'm indifferent to it now. I mean, it doesn't seem to have done any harm. I don't think it's undermined heterosexual marriage at all. Marriage is not something that's important to me, but same-sex marriage has brought joy to many couples, so I don't perceive any need to reverse it. So the Republican Party seems to advance irrationalism, deny things that are blatantly true, be anti-science, anti-intellectual, claim that evolution is a hoax and that climate change is not occurring. These things are irrefutably proven and accepted by the scientific community. Where I come from, if any political candidate went on stage and said the jury's still out on evolution, he would be laughed to scorn. Such a person would just not dare get up on the podium. It's preposterous that in this day and age that educated people can say that. So the Republican Party has shown its cowardice in the face of the NRA, despite a very high majority, about 95% of Americans, wanting universal background checks on firearms. Many Republicans in the Senate and in the House of Representatives won't vote for that. Many Republicans have a strange love for the death penalty, including professing Catholics. They could at least have a consistent pro-life ethic, anti-abortion, and anti-capital punishment. So, but there are a few Republicans who are courageous in opposing the death penalty. Anyway, if you want to stop abortion, there are ways it can at least be reduced. Why do women choose to have terminations? Often they're poor and they feel they can't afford to bring up this child. So if they had higher salaries, they'd be less likely to do it. If they had affordable health care, they'd be less likely to do it. If they'd had affordable or free contraception in the first instance, that unwanted pregnancy would be avoided and there'd be no termination. Or these women often feel they can't afford to carry on an education if they give birth. So you've got to be consistent. If you think that abortion is the final horror, you must take steps towards making it less likely to occur. So it seems that Republicans are very eager to change the subject from socioeconomic issues, try to make it about national security, about the next country to invade, and not about making the lives of ordinary people better. There are some decent Republicans. John McCain, I disagree with him on many issues, but he at least was brave enough to vote to save affordable health care, didn't save it in the long run, things like that. Anyway, it used to be said that most countries have a right-wing party and a left-wing party. America's got one right-wing party and one extremely right-wing party, and that's the grand old party. I would that the Republican Party refines its common sense. And how about patriotism? Well, that shouldn't just be about the military. You care about your compatriots, so you'd want to help them by ensuring they have access to affordable healthcare and things like that. And isn't it a human right? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has healthcare in there. The United States helped draft that. It's been ratified, so it's part of US domestic law. There are countless more human rights instruments to which the United States is a signatory and which Congress has passed. So that is part of American law, that access to healthcare is necessary for life and it is a human right. Therefore, Congress should give rise to that. Incidentally, not suggesting my country is perfect and there are bad things about it and I'll castigate my country. My government has done wrong and been incompetent and so on. And in some respects, there's less free gun restrictions to go too far in my part of the world. And there are good things about the United States and so many breakthroughs in science and technology occur there. So all that's admirable. But I just think the Republican Party really has nothing to offer the public.